So here we are, another video that makes me vulnerable with all of you so that you can be ready with your pitchforks and come at me with whatever creative insults you can think of, because I'm going to be talking about actors, creators and movies that have a loyal fan base who will be enraged at this contrarian opinion. We have covered various topics in different episodes of Unpopular Opinions, from acknowledging the problematic themes of commercial Tamil and Telugu cinema to the boycott culture of Twitter. I hope I don't become a part of that campaign after this video. And finally, the lack of credibility when it comes to star ratings on IMDb. We have covered a lot of topics. Yesterday on my Instagram and Twitter, you can follow me by the way at JammyPants4 for daily updates on the channel and just see me looking like a beta version of Bobby Deol. But I asked all of you to send in your unpopular movie opinions and I received hundreds of messages, some of which I considered and well, some which were downright bizarre. So without further ado, here is Tried&Refused Productions with 10 very unpopular Bollywood movie opinions you will hate me for. The real hero is behind the camera in some cases. I was watching two movies again, Kedarnath and Sandeep or Pinky Farhar, and I was wondering how is it that both Sara Ali Khan and Arjun Kapoor were so convincing in their roles. The sharp shift that I have noticed in Sara Ali Khan's performance from Kedarnath to Love Aajkal 2, transitioning from a sensitivity and realism to overdoing it and being loud, has actually all to do with the way she is captured and directed. The reason for everyone falling in love with Sara's performance in Kedarnath has a lot to do with Abhishek Kapoor. Similarly, with respect to Sandeep or Pinky Farhar, to channelize the limitations that Arjun Kapoor has as an actor into the character like Pinky, who is commanding in physical structure but reserved in expression, has a lot to do with the skill of Dibakar Banerjee. This just proves to me that actors who are limited in range and ability as performers actually just need skillful directors that know how to work with their strengths and weaknesses. An Irfan Khan or a Vikrant Massey will stand out irrespective of the horrible script, but there are some actors who genuinely need a skillful creator so that their demerits as a performer do not get exposed to the public. The reality is that every creator cannot cushion their filmmaking to accommodate the lack of skill that some actors have, and therefore, with films like Panipat and Love Aajkal 2 that requires actors to be on their A game and them to channelize a gambit of emotions, both Sara and Arjun fall flat. You will not always be lucky to come across creators like Dibakar Banerjee and Abhishek Kapoor that can turn something mediocre into gold. When to end a film? From what I've experienced while watching some of my favorite creators from Hindi cinema is that a section of them always find it tough on how to end a film. See, I understand that a movie is a director and writer's baby, so letting go of it and allowing viewers to judge it or critique it, it is something that is extremely brave. It goes from being your world, something that consumes you, to absolutely making you vulnerable when the audience watches it and presents their take. Something that you spend months or years on is judged in a few hours. But in this process, there are some creators like Anurag Kashyap, Anurag Basu, Rakesh Omprakash Mehra and Anand L. Rai that love their fictional world so much that they don't want to let go of it. They fall in love with their brainchild so much that they want to go further, maybe an inch or even a mile, just to churn out a little more from their world. You look at the concluding aspects of Bombay Velvet, the incessantly stretched second half of Jaga Jasoos, the painfully and unnecessarily long and generic Tufan, and finally the mess that was created in the second half of Zero. The creators I have mentioned almost consistently find it a struggle on how to wrap things up in their film. And this is what actually limits their projects from becoming near perfect movies. Which brings me to the next point. SHAHRUKH Khan and fan. You can't blame me for loving SHAHRUKH Khan and what he has done over several decades. The man has seen monumental success through his career, but seems to be in a creative lull of sorts since the past few years. The last massive box office success of Shah Rukh Khan was the 2014 film Happy New Year, and that says a lot about the creative slump when you think about the kind of films that have come out in the past 7 years. What I wholeheartedly believe about Fan as I rewatched it again is that it is probably Shah Rukh Khan's best performance after My Name is Khan. I was actually taken aback by how haunting and creepy Shah Rukh's take on Gaurav Chandna was. The biggest criticism that Shah Rukh Khan has faced in his career is that it is always tough to separate Shah Rukh Khan, the persona, and the character that he plays in movies. But I urge you to revisit this film and see how transformative and unconvincing his role of Gaurav truly is. I feel fans suffered from a terribly stretched and unnecessarily convoluted second half that actually took away from the otherwise engaging premise and performance. Probably the story started catering more to the star by increasing its scale, spanning over several international locations, and integrating way too many chase and action sequences. Revisited honestly for his performance. It's quite the sight to witness. Abhay Deol was Ayushmann Khurrana in the mid-2000s. I remember reading a tweet by a comedian exactly saying this, and I concur wholeheartedly. Abhay Deol was the one who was choosing unique scripts before it became mainstream. This is in no particular way any shade to Ayushmann Khurrana and his filmography, but that Abhay Deol was possibly making unconventional choices at a time where the audience wasn't as receptive as today's climate. I mean, you look at Ek Chalis Ki Last Local, Manorama 6 Feet Under, Oi Lucky Lucky Oi, Dev D, and Shanghai. Come on, man. Each film had something unique and new to offer. While Ayushmann has created a niche for himself, and kudos to him for doing so, let's also acknowledge and praise the man who did it when only a small section of people noticed and praised him. I miss Akshay Kumar comedies. Since 2015, there has been a rise in Akshay Kumar films that have a national sentiment, and he has experienced immense success in this genre. You look at films like Baby, Rustam, Airlift, Gold, and Kesari, the script choices have been influenced from a chapter in our Indian history and that develop a sense of national pride within the audience. I'm not saying that these films are getting repetitive or that they are underwhelming in any way. I hope I'm not alone in saying this, but you know what I genuinely miss? Something that we recently only got a glimpse of in good news: Akshay Kumar in comedy films. I can say this without a shadow of a doubt. There is not a single commercial Bollywood actor that comes close to the comic timing of Akshay Kumar. The early to mid 2000s were an absolute laugh riot from Akshay Kumar's filmography. Raju in Hera Fairy, the iconic Wicked Sunny from Mujhse Shaadi Karogi, the constantly lying Mac from Garam Masala, Arjun's creepy laugh from Namaste London, and even a unanimously panned film like Action Replay. I have had such hilarious memories of Akshay Kumar in this genre, and I just want him to take up a few projects reminiscent of the same mood so that we can have a good laugh for a change with films. Remake of Bollywood films also don't come close to the original. While it is important to acknowledge that the Hindi film industry has been struggling creatively, especially commercial cinema that is mostly taking its inspiration from already successful products from Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam cinema, it's also important to acknowledge that the industries from different states have also tried to emulate the magic of the same best films from Hindi cinema and fallen short. From Band Baja Barat, Delhi Belly, the Munna Bhai franchise, Three Idiots, Jab We Met, Bunty or Bubbly, there have been several knockoffs that exist of some of the most successful films from Hindi cinema. Not to forget Queen being remade in several major languages at the same time. But it's undeniable that Kangana and her role as Rani is etched in everyone's memory. While Bollywood may be struggling right now, there was a time where industries from different states were looking for inspiration from Hindi cinema. It's important to acknowledge that. Preempting the Mirabai biopic. This is just a throwaway point, but I'm just preempting it. So, Bollywood, अगर आप मीराबाई चानू का बायोपिक बना रहे हो, तो किसी को मणिपुर या at least some state in the northeast of India से cast करना, so that at least it's remotely reflective of where Mirabai comes from. In the pursuit of box office success, ये ना हो that we see Sara Ali Khan in a weightlifting poster and we see coming soon, next year, in theaters near you. I mean, with peace and love. Salman Khan, if he tries, it's extremely enjoyable. You know, I always go in for a Salman Khan movie having a sliver of hope that he may genuinely, from the bottom of his heart and mind, try in a film. Because when he does, and the script begs for a good performance, sometimes he intentionally or unintentionally shines. When I look at films like Sultan, Bajrangi Bhaijaan, and even Moments from Bharat, the man does have the ability to impact you beyond the larger-than-life star persona. Beyond financial gain, nothing is really achieved through ventures like Race 3, The Bung 3, and Radhe. I know the man will do whatever he wants for his upcoming ventures, but there is something beautiful about when he actively chooses to challenge himself and actually puts in the effort, making his films memorable for years to come, rather than just countless mind-numbing duds that we have seen lately. I can never win. See, whenever I'm reviewing a movie, I objectively want to formulate an opinion of where it stands. My criticism of the film has to be independent from whatever the actors have done before that film and what their political ideology may be. Does the film objectively work or not? That's my prerogative. But I realized while reviewing Chauda Fere and reading the comments that there is an inherent bias that exists in all of you and not only me. While criticizing a Vikrant for doing a mediocre project like Chauda Fere, I am told to take it easy on him and that he will improve. But if I hold the same precedent for an Arjun Kapoor or Janvi, I would be trolled for taking it easy on them. I think the criticism of a performance or a film should be independent from what the last names of the actors are. Similarly, I experienced the same while reviewing films from other states. While I sang praises for Sarpat Parambarai and Malik, it's fine. But when I criticize films like Cold Case and Penguin, I'm the North Indian being unnecessarily harsh to a film industry that I've just become privy to just a few years ago. So what I'm trying to say is that I will be thrashed irrespective. If I praise a film, I will be pandering. If I hate a film, I will be too harsh. Irrespective, what I can guarantee to all of you is that I will try my best to be as unbiased and objective in my criticism, no matter where a film comes from and who is associated with it. Baki dekhi jayegi. It's time for Farhan to direct. I like Farhan Akhtar in front of camera. I thank him for the memories of Rock On, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, Bhag Milkha Bhag, and possibly my favorite, Luck by Chance. But you know, with all due respect to him, when do I love Farhan Akhtar? When he is behind the camera. I think he is doing a terrible disservice by not directing for so long and compelling us to only revisit his classics like Dil Chahta Hai, Laksh, and Dawn. It's just that I think he's a far superior creator than actor. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below whether you have some unpopular opinions for Bollywood or every Indian movie industry actually. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handles are right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.